This video is provided to help ecosystem-based automated range map experts navigate the EBAR Reviewer App. In part 1 of this video, we will focus on getting you set up in the EBAR Reviewer App and general app functions. In part 2 of the video, we will focus on walking through the review process. If you are interested in providing range map reviews, please contact us at the email provided on the screen. The EBAR team would like to thank you for agreeing to be an expert reviewer, and please don't hesitate to contact us at any time. As a reviewer, you will receive an email which will include your username, temporary password, an attachment of the user guide, and our contact information if you need any help with the app. Once you have reviewed the user guide, you can click on the link to open the app. Part 1. Getting set up in the EBAR Reviewer App. Once you have opened the EBAR Reviewer App, you will be asked to sign in using your username and temporary password. You will then need to change your password. Please remember to keep this password secure. Since I already have an account, I do not need to set up my password, so I can now sign in. You should now see the welcome window. Please carefully review all of the information on this page before accepting. You will see this screen every time you enter the app. When you are ready, hit I accept. You should now be in the EBAR Reviewer app. You will only be able to view species assigned to you, and if you'd like to review additional species, please contact us. To begin, select a taxa and species you would like to work on. The app will automatically zoom to the eco shapes for the species. We can click on the legend here to display the legend in the map. Range map eco shapes are symbolized as present in dark purple, presence expected in fuchsia, and historical in light purple. If you are reviewing any of the migratory or wide-ranging taxa, for example, bird species, you will notice an additional layer of data displayed on these range maps. I'll demonstrate that here. If we select birds and we choose a species here, an extra layer of data is symbolized within each eco shape, and it is labeled under usage type. This data accounts for breeding information. Eco shapes are symbolized with breeding, the diagonal hatch marks, where the species is confirmed to be breeding, and possible breeding, with the vertical crosshatch, where species is thought to be breeding, but it has not been confirmed. In the example range map, all other usage type, for example migration, non-breeding, or unknown, has no hatch symbology. To view information about a particular eco shape, you can click on the eco shape in the range map. A pop-up will appear. As you can see here, this is the Algonquin Park eco shape, and it is part of the Georgian Bay ecoregion and part of the Boreal Shield ecozone. On the left-hand side, you will also see a few different panels which will be helpful when conducting your review. This panel here is the Select panel. When you click on it, it will open. This will be an important panel to have open when you are ready to start marking up eco shapes. There are a few different options when doing a selection. You can select by point, which allows you to choose one eco shape at a time. You will notice that the tool turns a dark green when activated. Follow the instructions for the active select tool. For instance, Select by point requires a single click to select eco shapes, whereas select by rectangle requires a click and drag. To add additional eco shapes to the selection, hold Shift while using the Select tool. To remove eco shapes from the selection, hold Control while using the Select tool. The selected eco shapes will have a yellow highlight. When a single eco shape is selected, the EBAR Reviewer panel shows the details for that eco shape, as well as the current presence value, if any. When multiple eco shapes are selected, the EBAR Reviewer panel has the following message. Warning: existing markup, including comments and references for the selected eco shapes, will be replaced on save. Chosen markup will only be applied to relevant eco shapes. What this means is that selected eco shapes could be inside and outside the existing range, and with or without existing markup. Therefore, when multiple eco shapes are selected, you will be warned that existing markup will be replaced for all selected eco shapes, and that chosen markup may not be relevant for some selected eco shapes. For example, marking up an eco shape as historical will not be applicable when it is already labeled as historical. To clear your selection and start again, press the Clear button. Let's continue exploring the other panels in the Reviewer app. This panel here can be used to add data. You may choose to change the base map. In this case, we could do the drop-down ArcGIS Online and search base map. And for this example, I'd like to add the World Topographic Map. And you'll see it displayed on the screen. Or perhaps you'd like to display your own data in the map to validate the range. For example, you can add your own point data as a CSV file as long as it contains a latitude and longitude column in decimal degrees. For performance reasons, we recommend loading a maximum of 2,000 points per file. This data is not stored and will need to be reloaded each time you enter the app. If you'd like to share the data with us so that it can be incorporated into the map, please contact us. So for this example, I'll click on File, and I will simply drag and drop my properly formatted CSV file from my desktop into this window here. And now you can see the points on the map, these green points here. To remove any of these layers, simply click on the trash can. The next panel is the About panel. Here you will find links to various resources, such as user documentation, our contact email, if you have any questions, our source code in GitHub, and our licensing information. We have also provided additional data and features to assist with your review. To display these, click on the Layer List panel on the right-hand side. This will then open a list of layers that you can turn on and off in your map. For example, you may want to view major lakes and reservoirs of North America. By clicking here, you can display that in the map. You can also view unrestricted input data by checking off the Species Range Inputs box. And if we drop this down, you will see they are represented by these blue polygons and circles. You will also notice that these records only appear when you zoom into the map. So if I zoom out, they disappear. When I zoom in, they will reappear. This was done to avoid long lag times with loading large amounts of points. This layer only includes data where we have permission to display it. To view information about the data, click on the data in the map. So we'll zoom into this point here. We'll click on it and use the scroll up here in the corner to view each point. In this case, this point is from the dataset source Bison, and it has the date information, as well as from GBIF. Part 2, the review process. We will now walk through the steps to conduct your review. We are asking you to carefully review the range and provide both eco-shape and range level feedback. Eco-shapes are a merging of eco-districts and other representations of ecosystems. We will start with an example of eco-shape markup. You have the option to either add or remove eco-shapes or change the presence value. If you would like to add an eco-shape based on data or your expert knowledge, start by clicking the eco-shape to display the markup panel. Activate the select button, and I can click on this eco-shape here. The presence information is currently blank, and when we go to the presence markup, we have the option of present, presence expected, and historical. For definitions, please refer to the user manual. You are then required to provide a comment and a reference to support your decision. There's a 2,000 character limit, so please be as detailed as possible. If you do not enter text, you cannot save your action. Reasons for adding an eco-shape could be recent field surveys, unpublished data, personal knowledge, or historical observations. As an example, let's say I conducted a field survey and found this species last spring. Firstly, I must select the presence value. In this case, it will be present. And then explain why I chose this. In this case, I will write Field Survey 2023. And if possible, please include a reference of where the data can be found. In this case, I will reference the report. Now that all of the fields have been filled in, we can hit Save to view the change that you've made on the map. You will see here that the changed eco-shape is highlighted with a green hatch mark. If we go to our legend, you can see that the presence markup has been added or changed. If you'd like to undo what you have just done, simply re-click on the eco-shape that you would like to change and click Delete Markup. Now let's say you wanted to remove an eco-shape because it is outside of the known range or the data is incorrect. For example, it's based on a misidentified museum specimen or bad spatial coordinates. Again, we will click on the map and review the information displayed in the markup panel, including the input data. Here you will see under metadata, there are 3 input records, 1 from Bison, 2 from GBIF. If you are certain you would like to remove the eco-shape, you must first select Remove from the markup menu. You will then be required to select a removal reason. The options are presumed extirpated, never was there, reported but false, transient/vagrant, or other. Please refer to the user manual for definitions. Again, you will be required to provide comments and, if possible, a reference. As an example, let's say the ecoshape is based on a record where the location description does not match the coordinates. Therefore, we would select reported but false. In the comments, we know that this ecoshape is based on records from gbif.org. So we would say that the gbif records are incorrectly digitized. And as a reference, we could say the expert opinion of myself. Now that all the information is filled in, we can hit save and view the changes on the map. Next, we can also change the presence value for an ecoshape. Reasons to do this could be new data indicating species presence when it was marked as historical. Again, we're going to click on the map and select the appropriate presence values, then provide comments and a reference. I will use the same field survey example as earlier. So in this case, we have a historical ecoshape that should actually be present. In the comments, I will fill in that it was field surveys from 2023 and the reference unpublished report 2023. And now that all of the fields have been filled out, I can hit the Save button. And you'll see the changes highlighted in green. Now let's walk through an example review of a migratory species EBAR map. Here I have the auto-generated range for spotted sandpiper. You can see the species range ecoshapes with the presence values, as well as the usage type labels and their values for breeding and possible breeding, as well as it displayed within the EBAR map. You have the same options to add, remove, or change ecoshape markup with additional markup of usage type. There are a few different options for usage type markup, including breeding, possible breeding, non-breeding, and none set. For example, in ecoshapes where you do not need to update the breeding information. Please refer to the user manual for definitions. You will be required to provide a comment and a reference if available. In this first example of ecoshape markup, let's say I discovered a population of spotted sandpiper breeding in this ecoshape, which is outside of the auto-generated range, during this year's field season. I would first select the appropriate presence markup. In this case, it's present. Then I would select the appropriate usage type markup. In this case, that would be breeding. And in my comment, I can add Spring 2023 field season, confirmed breeding. And I can save my markup. In this next example, I will select multiple ecoshapes. These three ecoshapes here are labeled as present and possible breeding. Let's say I have data to support the species being present in these ecoshapes, but I would like to update the usage type to breeding. In this case, these three eco shapes are labeled as present in dark purple. So I will select for the presence markup none set, as I do not want to change the presence label. I will then update the species usage type markup to breeding. And I can add a comment here. Confirmed breeding in spring 2022 field season. And I can save my markup. You'll then see the changes reflected in the map, and we can view the legend again to see all of the changes we've made. So for example, the usage type markup here has been marked as breeding, as well as in here, it's been marked as breeding. In this last example, I will select an eco shape that is within the auto-generated range. So I'll select this one here. Its current presence value is present, and the usage type is marked as possible breeding. I have current knowledge that this eco shape is part of the species range, but the species does not breed this far north. I can then set the presence markup as none set, as I do not want to change the presence value, and I will choose non-breeding for the usage type markup. And for my comment, I can add species does not breed this far north. And I can save. If we pull up the legend again, you can see the usage type markup is non-breeding within this eco shape with the red dots. If you would like to comment on an eco shape but not change the presence markup, please make these comments in the overall feedback section. We currently do not have functionality to store eco shape comments without changing their markup. Once you've completed your eco shape level feedback, please provide overall feedback by clicking on the overall feedback button. You'll be asked to select a star rating between 1 and 5. A rating of 1 indicates that significant revisions are needed, and the range is either missing data or does not accurately reflect the species. Versus a rating of 5 indicates the range contains all known species information and is ready to publish. Please keep in mind that star rating should reflect the quality of the range with your revisions, not the quality of the source data. Let's estimate a star rating of 4, and then we'll provide a comment. You will then have the option to either hit save and continue working on the species range, or click submit, which means that you are done with your review. So we'll click submit. You must then hit OK, that you understand that you will not be able to do additional review, and if you want to continue. You will see now that the review has been submitted. If for any reason you need to go back into your review and make changes after it has been submitted, please email us and we can set that up for you. As a reminder, we can only use reviews that have been completed and submitted. So please be sure to submit your review when you are done. And finally, the EBAR team would like to thank you for your contribution to our project. We look forward to sharing more maps publicly over the next few months, and please visit our website for regular updates.